But I'm watching it like, oh, that's got good body weight. It's got all these other good things. There, you can still see some oscillation in it, just very, very subtle stuff, but just little like, jiggle back and forth oscillations as it walks. We can also now immediately tell that those shins or whatever, the lower leg parts, are definitely structural.
After Elon complaining about the competition, doing a frame-by-frame analysis, he's gone ahead and taken the covers off.
I know.
Now, there
I was like,
was a lot of things that we couldn't tell before with the covers on. They look smaller. Well, basically, after the Chancellery verdict today, I was wondering, my goodness, what's Elon doing tonight? Well, we know. He's in the Optimus lab, and he's looking at everything, and basically, he's not letting it distract him.
However, as I watch it, I think, wow, it has a decent body weight. It has all these other wonderful qualities. It still exhibits some oscillation, albeit really faintly, just tiny oscillations like jiggles back and forth as it moves. Additionally, we can now see right away that those shins or whatever portion of the lower leg is structurally significant. Elon will remove the covers after ranting about the competition and breaking it down frame by frame. I'm aware that there are many things that were hidden from us in the past. They appear more diminutive. Well, so basically, I was thinking, my goodness, what's Elon doing tonight? Following the Chancellor's judgment today. As far as we know, he is looking at everything in the Optimus lab. In other words, he's not allowing anything to divert him. This is Tesla's amazing humanoid robot, Optimus. We'll examine Optimus in detail in this video, covering everything from its remarkable gait to its sophisticated design to possible charging options. Additionally, we have some amazing new information about how motion capture is transforming its advancement. But before we begin, don't forget to hit the subscribe and like buttons to become a part of our always expanding community for Tesla stock news. We're ready to provide you with the most recent information about Tesla, stock analysis, and cutting-edge technology. So grab a seat, because Tesla is bringing you the robotics of the future. Let's first examine the fascinating world of Optimus, so you can fully see why it's causing quite a stir in the IT sector. All set. Now let's move. Optimus, the walking robot, astonished us all when Elon showed up at what I believe to be the Palo Alto plant, though I'm not positive. That could be Palo Alto, after all. Here's when it gets interesting. In reality, we witnessed Optimus walking. It has a nice distribution of body weight and is remarkably realistic. Its walk does, however, exhibit a few faint oscillations, just little jiggles to and forth. Its side will have a yellow tag, and its back will have a hanging tether that is typically attached to the bot. For the walking demonstration, they have taken it off. Because the skin has been removed, we can also see that the lower leg components are structural. This dispels any uncertainty regarding their intent. Upon analyzing the walk, it is evident that the person is toe-off and has a tiny bend in his or her legs, not a straight line. This reminds us of what we witnessed in the December prior video. It appears that Elon Musk's demand for frame-by-frame analysis was successful. We get a much clearer view of the internal mechanisms now that the coverings are off. Without the outer shell, the leg motors, particularly the hip ones, appear smaller and more streamlined than they did previously. Optimus looks quite bony, more like a stick figure than some of the other bots available. The three connected joints that make up the eye patrol mechanism of the previously hidden shoulder are now visible. Also, the cable routing appears to be well structured. The exact angle is hard to pin down, although it seems to be tilted somewhat away from horizontal. The fans that are in charge of cooling the battery are plainly visible. It is more likely that they are cooling a liquid than air, which may be more important for charging than for normal operation. It's important to keep in mind that the robot's whole body is affected by heat generation when analyzing the energy dynamics of the battery pack. Effective active cooling becomes crucial in order to facilitate high-speed charging. Still, it's a little difficult to determine whether or not there are fans on the other side. For this reason, it appears that the significant heat emission zones are centered around the armpit and underarm areas, much like when a person perspires. This suggests that the bot might run at a high temperature when in use. One important discovery is the way Optimus is attached. It was previously attached by the top of the head, but it appears that this technique has been abandoned. To prevent the neck region from being overworked, and overburdened with the weight of the entire body. This alteration makes sense. Despite having large components including battery, CPU, GPU, and FSD chips, Optimus has an incredibly sleek design. Comparing this design to other models, which frequently have bulky backpack-like components, is a dramatic difference. But there's an odd piece on its back that makes you wonder what it's meant to be used for. The details of how Optimus charges are yet unknown, although it's probable that this block acts as a charging converter of some kind. One reasonable theory is that Optimus runs on a DC system, which reduces the requirement for internal AC converters. Rather, it may depend on external parts, similar to laptop, e-bike, and phone chargers. This method improves portability and streamlines the design. With regard to charging capacity, Jordan thinks that Optimus's battery pack has a maximum capacity of 7 to 8 kW, meaning it might not be able to be charged using a 250 kW supercharger. This would be equivalent to a level 2 charger at about 110 V and 32 amps. The charge curve and other variables, such cooling, may affect the charging speed. It's also important to note that, in contrast to LFP, the battery chemistry seems to be NMC, offering a good balance between utilization and charge speed. Considering the comparable charging time, there is not much of a trade-off. It's also possible to softwarely restrict these bots to using no more than 90% of their battery life. Even though the battery only has a 2.5 kW capacity, limiting access to the top 10% can greatly increase its longevity. For humanoid bots, this strategy might work better than for vehicles, where the extra 10% of range is more important. Moreover, deeper battery discharges are made possible by the proximity of charging stations, as opposed to cars that might have to travel a greater distance to find a charging point. Upon closer inspection, we can see that Optimus has a wrist mechanism with two sloping joints that allow for a large range of motion. Like the human hand, these joints are spherical in shape and have the ability to rotate as well as flex. Notably, the wrist is now smaller and more compact thanks to design evolution. Additionally, Optimus features simplified parts with notably smaller motors in the hip and pelvic regions. Its sleek appearance and increased efficiency are also benefits of its design. The requirement resulting from the unusual axis of motion necessary for humanoid walking makes the hip joint's center of rotation appear slightly lower than that of a human. This modification to the design may shorten the bot's stride and top speed, but it fits the purpose of being used in manufacturing settings where a 5 miles per hour brisk walking pace is not necessary. Without better photos, we are unable to say with certainty whether the elbow mechanism has changed significantly during our examination. It does appear to be mostly in line with the earlier design, though. Interestingly, we notice a heat sink up front, which points to Optimus having a sizable processing capacity. The fans stand out, suggesting that there is a cooling system in place. It is most likely cooling liquid that surrounds the FSD, CPU, GPU, and batteries. Let's now examine that complex system inside Optimus in more detail. Given our limited viewpoint here, it's certainly a little difficult to determine the precise workings. Recall that prominent black element that extended over the top of the previous edition, giving greater clarification. But it appears that this new design has simplified it, which could cause the axis of rotation to go farther back. It's true that some things become more apparent when you take the time to compare photos and possibly have access to better ones. We'll try our best with what we have, but regrettably, downloading the video for a more thorough examination isn't currently possible. Next, we look at the hip area of Optimus, where we can see that the parts are now lighter and more compact than in the previous version. The lack of covers has left some wiring exposed, but it's important to note that these wires are neatly enclosed by cable raceways. In contrast to some other robots that look like a mass of cables, Optimus looks elegant and effective, even without its skin. It appears that the team has given much consideration to keeping the design neat and functional. Let's move on to the fascinating subject of leg mobility. It is evident that Optimus's knees never fully lock out. Instead, they keep a small bend throughout the gait cycle. Observers, this is a classic robotics challenge, imitating a human's natural walk. Optimus mimics the minute weight shifts and rotations of a human walker with remarkable hip and torso movements, while there is still potential for development. Examining the arm systems, we discover that the elbow joints are essentially unchanged from earlier designs. Conversely, the wrist mechanism has gotten more compact and streamlined. It's not enough to simply observe Optimus's amazing accomplishments from a distance. Seeking Alpha is your one-stop shop for the most recent information on Tesla, Tesla stock price targets, Tesla innovation, and everything Elon Musk related for fans of the company and those who have an eye for finding the next big stock market find. The internet's top pro-Tesla news outlet is Seeking Alpha. Get to the facts without listening to the lamestream media's anti-Tesla propaganda. To take advantage of a special discount, click the link in the description. Let's now return to observe the torso's equilibrium. The bot is walking and spinning, indicating that it has moved its weight to its left, indicating that it is moving properly. For a physical thing like Optimus to remain stable and not topple, this is essential. For those who do not know, walking is basically a series of controlled falls in which every stride is a calculated move to keep yourself from landing face first. It's a careful dance of recuperation and balance. From the footage, it looks like it's around 6:30 p.m. in Palo Alto. We're left wondering if this is the beginning of an evening shift or late work hours. It's interesting to note that nobody from the team appears to be recognizable, which could indicate that this is a different crew. Elon often shares more information on his posts, so it's worth keeping a lookout for any possible updates later tonight. Elon promised to send video updates on a regular basis, and it looks like he's keeping his promise after this prompt release. Updates per week can become into a regular event. An important finding is the motion capture configuration. You've observed some strange dots. Those are motion capture markers, and they're usually used to record human movements. The interesting part is that they can utilize this to map both Optimus and humans. They can create a first set of movements that humans make so Optimus can mimic them. The robot's movements can be made more precise by using the motion capture data to generate loss functions for training. This large motion capture space may be useful for training and optimization, among other areas of development. The theodolites you observed are probably utilized for accurate measurements and tracking, which improves this lab's general functionality. That concludes our video for today. We've examined the walk pattern and possible charging techniques of Tesla's groundbreaking humanoid robot, Optimus. Tesla's robotics venture appears to have a bright future thanks to the motion capture setup and careful attention to detail in Optimus's design. We would now like to speak with you. What are your thoughts regarding Optimus's potential and its place in Tesla's future? Would you like us to delve deeper into any particular areas in our next videos? Please leave your questions and comments in the space provided below. Remember to press the like button, subscribe to Tesla Stock News, and ring the notification bell if you're as thrilled as we are about Tesla's inventions. Follow along for the most recent information about Tesla's incredible adventure. We appreciate your participation today and hope to see you in our upcoming videos.